everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have finally finished reviewing all the Artemis Fowl books, so you know what that means. This video we are going to be doing ranking the Artemis Fowl series. If anyone is new to the channel, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. The way it's going to work is we're going to go through all the books in the series and we're just going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite and just give a brief explanation as to why I put the books where I did in the list. As we're talking about each book, I will put a link to that book's specific video up in the corner so you guys can rewatch that specific video, because my explanations are going to be that long, and if you guys want to hear my more detailed explanation, you can just rewatch the video. With all that taken care of, let's start the list. Alright everyone, so taking the 8th spot on the list and the worst book of the Artemis Fowl series, in my opinion, is Atlantis Complex. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to try and keep this very brief. If you want my more in-depth thoughts, rewatch Atlantis Complex video, but I absolutely do not like this book. Mainly because Orion is very annoying, and there are a lot of things that I think Colfer could have done with Orion the character, but never took advantage of. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of cool ideas that I think Orion could have gone with, but again, Colfer didn't decide to expand on Orion's character. And the other thing is, this book largely is irrelevant because Orion, after Atlantis Complex, is never brought up again. So why would you devote an entire book to having Orion as a thing without bringing him up later? Again, this is the worst book in my opinion. It's largely irrelevant to what happens in the last book for the series. I think the major thing that does drag this book down, aside from Orion, is not having Artemis in this series. I bring this up in the video, but I personally at least believe that Artemis is the heart and soul of the series. When he's not there, the series suffers a lot. And this book, I think, honestly proved my point, because Artemis is not there for maybe 75% of the book, and that bugs me to no end. The main series is about Artemis Fowl. Have Artemis Fowl inside the book. And the other thing is, Turnbull is a very unmemorable villain. Colfer tries to kind of make him more sympathetic with his backstory, but largely he's just kind of there. And again, I bring this up in my other video. I think younger Cowboy should have been the villain for this book. That way, the last book in the series, when the two work together, they're already together after the end of Atlantis Complex. This book, I don't like. There's a lot of things that Colfer dropped the ball on, and I do honestly think that this is the worst book in the Artemis Fowl series. Taking the number 7 spot is Opal Deception. Opal Deception, I think, kind of suffers from the same problem that Atlantis Complex suffers, with Artemis not being there a large part of the book, but it's slightly less of a problem in Opal Deception because Artemis eventually does get his memory back. Artemis is suffering under his amnesia thing after Eternity Code, so there is a legit explanation why he doesn't remember everything. But again, the parts of the story where Artemis doesn't have his memories are kind of a bit of a drag, because we all know what's coming. We all recognize that Artemis is a very good person, and we're just kind of waiting for him to regain his memories and to realize, okay, I have actual friends and they need me and my help, and I just need to do this for them. The kind of thing that saves this book, I think, from being lower on the list is the fact that we actually see Artemis kind of do something good just because it is the right thing to do and not because he's gonna get anything out of it. This, I think, is kind of Artemis's big first step into becoming a much better person, that he realizes that I need to do this because it's the right thing to do to help my friends. And this book definitely does show Artemis's growth a lot. Okay, so taking the number 6 spot is going to be Time Paradox. I actually really enjoyed this book as far as its premise goes, where Artemis and Holly have to confront Artemis's past actions and literally his past self. That, I think, is a very good thing to sort of hold the mirror up to Artemis himself and to us, and to put it in perspective how much Artemis has truly grown as a person. I enjoy Time Paradox as sort of a reflection of where Artemis has been as opposed to where he is now. I really love that book for that aspect. The one thing I talked about in the video that drags this down was the fact that this book brings up some interesting things, mainly the Opal escaping from the past timeline thing, but never does anything with it, and kind of leaves it open-ended, and I kind of wish we had gotten some sort of closure on that. I talked about that in the video, but it's probably just me nitpicking that. But again, I really would have wanted some sort of closure as to what happened with Opal. That's the one thing that kind of drags this book down slightly. It's still a really good book thematically and for Artemis' character, but not explaining the time travel really does make the book suffer in the long run. Taking the number 5 spot is going to be Lost Colony. I really do enjoy this book. The stakes in this book have been the biggest they've been for the entire series. I really do think Culver did a very good job at escalating the stakes because the entire demon island of Hybris is in danger, so that was very good. I really enjoyed number 1. Culver made him super relatable as kind of someone who really didn't fit in and felt super awkward in his own body, so I really do think Culver did a very good job at writing number 1, and the interaction between Minerva and Artemis was really fun without being like annoying. He found a good balance, the two of them, and their growing relationship. He found a good balance with that. The only thing I really do rag about in the video, if you guys again want to go watch it, is the fact that I think there's just one too many villains in this book. We could cut out Billy Kong entirely and this book wouldn't lose a whole lot. Kong really doesn't need to be there for this book to work. Cut out one of the villains, probably Kong, and then this book would be better. But despite the fact that this book has maybe one too many villains, I still really do enjoy it. Not quite as much as some of the books further up on the list, but this is a very good entry for the series. Okay, so taking the number 4 spot is going to be Eternity Code. This is actually another book which I really do enjoy as sort of a milestone for Artemis, because in this book they go up against a villain who is basically what Artemis would become had he not met Hull with Giant Spyro, which I really do enjoy as a sort of mirror. You could have gone down this path, Artemis, because you met Hull, you didn't. And I explain more about that in the video if you guys want to go and watch it. But I do really enjoy this book in particular because it's kind of a change of pace, because the others have been kind of more straight up action type books. This does have action, but it's more of a spy thriller. There's a whole like heist section in the back half of the book, which I clearly enjoy, and Culver did a very good job at writing that sort of spy infiltration mission type feel. Eternity Code just kind of feels very fun as a book, and it makes Artemis face some really hard truths, which is very much needed for him to face. And I really do like this book in general. There's not a whole lot that drags this book down. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's definitely one of the better books for the Artemis Fowl series. So taking the number 3 spot on the list is going to be The Last Guardian. Like I said in my video reviewing this book, I really do thoroughly enjoy this as a finale for the Artemis Fowl series. I think Culver does a very good job at showing the absolute insane stakes that have been brought about because Opal decided to open the Berserker Gate. He does a great job at showing the devastation and fear everyone is feeling at that point. He does an incredible job with that, and the entire book is just one big downer note until the very end. The other thing I really enjoy about this book, like I said in my video, was the fact that he finally had the younger Opal from Time Paradox do something, because again, that was a big problem with that. The younger Opal finally was useful in doing something, and second thing was he finally did something with the clone, which was incredible. incredibly cool. Like I said in that video, and I'm going to reiterate, I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end of this book because it is absolutely awesome and very well written. So I want you guys to experience that for yourselves. I really do enjoy that Colfer gave Foley something to do because he was kind of an underrated character in my opinion for this series. So it's fun to finally see Foley get something to do in this book and not just have to sit on the sidelines while everyone else gets all the fun. It makes my top 3. It's definitely a good book, but the other 2 books that are on this list just definitely edge out this book in particular. Okay, so taking the number 2 spot is going to be Artemis Fowl. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore this book. It is the book that started it all, which makes me just enjoy it the most. I really do enjoy this book. I enjoy Colfer starting to show Artemis's humanity at the very end. I really like Holly. I really like everyone in this book, but it doesn't quite make number 1. I do thoroughly enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Number 1 just edges this book out just slightly. I just don't feel like this is the top book. It's definitely one of the better ones, but it's not my top personally. Okay, so taking the number 1 spot, in my opinion at least, is Arctic Incident. Now, I don't really know if this is a controversial choice as far as the top Artemis Fowl book goes, but for me, at the very least, I consider this the best Artemis Fowl book because this is really where I think the series starts properly. Like, this is the book where we really see Artemis and Holly's relationship start out, and we see everything that makes the series great. The first book had a lot of that, but this, I think, is where the series properly starts. And this is where the love for the series, I think, at least for me, starts. I love how Holly finally recognizes that this kid isn't that bad. He's just a lost kid looking for his father. Colfer does a very good job at writing a sequel to the first book that exceeds the original first book. I enjoy Arctic Incident. I love everyone finally coming together as a team and the real heart and soul of the story starting to form. I do really like this book. I feel like, again, this is where the series properly starts, at least for me. I don't know if anyone else shares my opinion on that. If you do, please let me know, or if you have a different opinion, let me know regardless. Okay guys, we have finally made it through the Artemis Fowl series. I am so happy we finally did this. This is one of the book series that really started me on this path to do this channel. I really adore the Artemis Fowl series, so I am so grateful everyone has stuck around and commented so much on these book reviews. It's really meant a lot to me, and I really hope I can keep this content up. As always, I'm going to turn it over to you guys in the comments. If you guys have your own ranking for the Artemis Fowl series, I would absolutely love to discuss. I want to hear if anyone has read the Artemis Fowl series before. Please let me know your own ranking of the books. Again, I want to discuss this with you guys. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss anything. If you guys want to check me out on social media, my Instagram is Riley Murray Book Reviews, and my Twitter is Riley T. Murray, and I also just opened up a Facebook, so just search up Riley Murray Book Reviews. I will put links to everything down in the comments so you guys can just go, click the links, and start following those accounts. As always, if you guys have book recommendations for books you think I should review in the future, please leave them down in the comments or leave them on my social media pages. Either one is fine. I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, and don't forget, keep on reading.